Dead is an absolute adjective.
Okay.
Somebody cannot be deader than dead. If you are dead, you are dead. So where these people have reached, especially young people, that's where they have reached. They have reached in a point where they don't care. If you tell them you destroy your country, they are not seeing the country. They are saying, let's destroy it. Itamea upya. It's the role of leaders to run the affairs of the state in such a manner that people do not get angry enough to want to destroy, because it's their own country. They can destroy it. Even Moses took that tablet with a tent and threw it down and broke it, and it had been given by God. The people can dismantle this state.
A very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk. It's my pleasure to have you here. I'm joined by Professor Herman Manyora. Prof, how are you?
Good. Yes.
We are looking at how things are happening here in the country. And one thing that has actually triggered my attention is the response by some of the members of parliament allied to the former, I don't know whether to call him former opposition leader, but of course we're talking about Baba Raila Amolo Odinga here. They are saying, look.
Just call him Baba. Yes.
Initially, he used to be is he still the opposition leader, by the way? Because right now we're back to what William Ruto used to call back then a mongrel kind of government.
Well,
so we don't know how to actually refer to him, but then Raila Amolo Odinga, the leader of the Orange Democratic Movement Party here, they are saying, look, we cannot eat and then lack bad manners. We actually have table manners. That is what they were saying. Now, let us have this conversation here. These people are in government and they're eating, but then they're saying that they must have bad manners, good manners, that is. Don't you see that this, whatever they call table manners, is bringing a lot of confusion here at a time when a number of people who look up to Raila expect him to be speaking for the voice of the people, as he has been doing before?
I doubt it is they who are saying. I think it's people who are saying. People are saying you cannot be eating and talking at the same time. That's bad table manners.
No,
which is normal.
No, actually, Millie Odhiambo said,
They want to have good table manners.
Yes, we have good table manners.
You don't talk.
Now that we are inside here, we don't talk.
It's our time to eat. Let them eat. Let them eat. Yeah.
What's the danger in this kind of narrative?
I only pray for them they don't get constipation. Yeah.
What do you mean by constipation?
You know where I come from. If you eat and people look at you, they could throw some things to you. Busura.
Okay.
Tumbo, vitu inakaa kwa tumbo inakusumbua. So you get a medicine man kusugua na hizo anatoa mifupa, anatoa vipande vya chupa. Hiyo uchawi hiyo. Sababu ya kukula watu wakiona. I only pray they don't get that, they don't get constipation.
Yeah. Okay. For a party that has been known to be focusing a lot so much on demonstrations in the past, because in this country, I doubt if there is any particular party that has been associated with these demonstrations and mass actions as compared to the Orange Party. But then here they find themselves in the situation.
They are saying they have taken a back seat.
Yeah, they're saying
the others do it.
They're saying that they've taken a back seat, and I remember the other time with this Junet Mohammed saying, look, we've been here before. Yes, we've organized demonstrations and all that, but then we did not try to overthrow the government. That's what they're saying. Now, from where you stand, look at how the kind of position that the Orange Party finds itself in right now. With that kind of mentality and perception from the people, do you think that to some extent it has failed the people and it has lost its meaning of being the champion for democracy in the country?
I think for now, there's a sort of lull. I think we are in a state where it will be safe to say that ODM is not the opposition anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe for a while, maybe it's a temporal situation. But for now, they are not offering oversight. They are not critiquing government. They are not questioning the bad things of government. So they cannot be seen to be playing the role of the opposition for now.
But they're saying we cannot actually politic all along. We have to have some sort of actions taking place. And therefore, they are saying that instead of rocking the boat, they've got in there and they're making sure that they repair the boat.
But the boat can sink. Again, I pray for them because this boat may sink.
Okay.
It's overloaded. Yeah. When you overload a boat, it could sink. Yeah. So if ODM is there, UDA is there, and all these other fellows are inside the boat, and all the things they have plundered, the boat could be overloaded and capsize.
Okay.
Yeah, I fear for them.
They're saying they're eating, but then they are observing good table manners. And then I've also seen them weigh in this conversation, because Millie Odembo says that, look, it is very difficult to be Baba. When you are outside there demonstrating, they blame you for being an anarchist and causing demonstrations that would lead to deaths and maybe destruction of property.
Yes.
Then when you step aside again, you are betraying us. That is what they are saying. If you look at the situation in the country right now, what is the role of Raila Odinga, and has he handled things better?
I think Raila has given himself the role of cooling temperatures. Because we all know, and everybody has seen and has said that, if Raila did not join Ruto, this government would have collapsed. So if that's the role he has given himself, we have to say he has played it near perfect. Because Ruto would have gone home. The government would have collapsed. The issue of what would have happened is another story. Is that right? Yeah. So he has played the role perfectly to help Ruto steady the boat.
At a time when the majority of the people in the country, especially the young ones, are saying that, look, anybody who stands on the side of President William Ruto, according to them, is an enemy of the people.
Well, if you look at things that way, then Raila is an enemy of the people. Because he went to save Ruto when people wanted Ruto out. So those who see it that way, they certainly will see Raila as an enemy.
And according to them, they're asking, was Ruto really worth saving at that time?
That's another question. Again, it is from where they stand. From where they stand or sit, Ruto is not a person to protect. Why did Raila protect him? Yeah.
Okay. Immediately, the last demonstrations, of course, during the anniversary of the Gen Z, I want to use the kind of terms that Rigathi Gachagua uses to refer to this particular event. But then, of course, what we saw last year was a massacre. So in this particular event and during this particular anniversary, the rolling call has been Ruto must go. Yes. We've also seen Raila wade into this kind of conversation, and he's saying, look, the only way through which Ruto can get out of this place is through the democratic means, and that is elections. And therefore, he's telling people, you wait until 2027. Do you think he's right? Can people really wait? There are people who are talking about one term. There are others who are now talking of half term. In fact, they're saying that we need you to get out of this place as soon as possible.
Look, the only wrong thing is an unconstitutional takeover. And if Ruto must go wherever they want him to go, it must be according to the Constitution. And Raila is aware, waiting until 2027 is just one of the ways. There are other constitutional ways that can see Ruto go home before 2027. Look no further than the impeachment of Gachagua. That tells you Ruto can also be impeached. And if he's impeached, he can go home earlier than 2027. Yeah. And the other ways, they are all stated in the Constitution. Yeah.
Okay. So I also saw
including Article 1.
So I also saw William Ruto asking, how do you want me to go? And of course,
you go, you can resign.
People are telling him, just resign.
You can be impeached.
Yeah. There has been that kind of conversation. And that is why Raila is now at the center of this conversation here, because there has been that conversation of, if we go this direction, then we are losing a country. I saw Murkomen talk and wade into this conversation, and he's saying that, look, we are willing to go as far as maybe disobeying and disregarding some of the court orders, as long as we save the country.
The issue of the doctrine of preserving the state.
Yeah, by the way, what is it? Are we at a point where we're actually able to lose the country? That is what actually
the country belongs to the people. Let's start there. This country does not belong to me or you or Murkomen or anybody else for that matter.
Not even the president.
It belongs to the people.
Yes.
To preserve the state, to preserve the country, is squarely in the hands of Kenyan people. It's the role of leaders to run the affairs of the state in such a manner that people do not get angry enough to want to destroy, because it's their own country. They can destroy it. Even Moses took that tablet with a pen and threw it down and broke it, and it had been given by God. The people can dismantle this state if they choose. It's their country. If they choose, they want to dismantle it. Who is Manyora? Who is Murukomen? Who is you? Who is anybody? Nobody can stop them. If they want to dismantle the state, they'll dismantle it. It's their own. So when you are in leadership, always do things to make people see the purpose in their being a country. Let them be proud to be Kenyans. You see? Let them have hope that today may be difficult, but their children will live in a better. For that reason, they will toil and suffer, knowing very well their children and grandchildren will find a better place. But if there is no hope, if you close all avenues and you create a sense of hopelessness, then Raila or Murkomen or Manyora cannot stop the people for destroying their state, their country. They will say, we are there anyway. We are already dead anyway. You can't be deader than dead. Nobody can ever get deader than dead. Dead is an absolute adjective.
Okay.
Somebody cannot be deader than dead. If you are dead, you are dead. So where these people have reached, especially young people, that's where they have reached. They have reached in a point where they don't care. If you tell them you destroy your country, they are not seeing the country. They are saying, let's destroy it. Itamea upya, which is dangerous, which is what our leaders should be aware of and guard against, and do those things that will encourage our young people that tomorrow is a better day. The sun will shine tomorrow. They are going to live in a better country. And you do things to give substance to that hope, not to threaten anybody. Because those threats will not work.
But ideally, if you look at it, are we actually facing a direction whereby the country is on collapse and therefore the country needs some sort of saving?
Of course.
Going with the recent events that we've witnessed here.
Yeah. The country is headed for destruction. Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you play around, not long from now, you'll find the breakdown in the law and order.
Okay.
If you look at the engagement, the past demonstrations, 2024 and these most recent ones, you can see a sense in which the role of the police is beginning to be questioned. The power of the police is beginning to diminish. And it's like the citizens are getting to a point where they no longer recognize the police as law enforcement agents. They see them more as destroyers, as people out to break their skulls. When a country reaches a point where the citizens have no respect for the law enforcement agents, then you are dangerously driving to the wrong place. When a country reaches to a point where people can outpower the police, then you are getting into trouble.
Okay.
When a country reaches a place where the fear is gone, then you're about to lose it all. And that's where we are. We are at a place where we could very, very easily lose this country. Very, very easily.
And that is why the actions of the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga is still being questioned here, because we are looking at a situation whereby we have a country, but then we also have the head of government and state here, who is the President William Ruto. And we're like, does it then mean therefore that if Ruto goes down because of all that is taking place in this country, then we lose a country? I think there is something here that we do not understand, that Kenyans need to understand. What's the difference between losing the country and losing William Ruto? I mean, if at all he decides to go, of what impact would that be to the nation?
Raila has a point. He says, if Ruto goes, so what?
Yes.
If you push this thing, there can be a state of anarchy, including many bad things, which we don't want to mention here, including takeovers and what have you. That path, obviously, Raila is right. That's a wrong path to go. Because the exit of a president in circumstances other than those enshrined in the Constitution, other than the constitutional ones, will lead to anarchy. And nobody can celebrate anarchy. Is that not true? But equally, not to do the right things as leadership of a country can also create anarchy on its own. So that anarchy can come because Ruto has left prematurely in a bad way, and there's anarchy because nobody is organized enough to take over. So there will be anarchy. But also to continue living in a country with all the bad things that are going on in this country is a recipe for more anarchy. So what people like Raila and the rest should be telling us, the conversation we ought to have is, what do we do so that the leadership in power creates hope for the people by doing what it ought to do before people are given an opportunity in 2027, either to reaffirm them, to vote them back, or to vote them out. But to say you want to maintain those in power and wish away the bad things that can happen is not be serious. To be serious is to recognize that let those in power remain in power so that their premature exit does not cause anarchy. But let them also do things so that on the other side, the citizens have hope. They can see things are happening. Again, as they wait until 2027 to confirm or to reject Ruto. To sweep things under the carpet has never been our way. So Raila is recommending we kick the can down the road, down the hill. That doesn't work. It's temporal. It doesn't work. What works is biting the bullet in some places, facing your demons, and doing something that may not be very, very good for you, but you do them as a president. Doing something that may not please your outsider friends, IMF, World Bank, globalists, and so on and so forth. Some things you tell them, look here, Dana, hapa sasa, we are losing our country. You will have forgive me. EV18 ndatoa kwa mafuta. I know you don't like it, but we need to preserve the state. That's the conversation Raila should be helping Ruto to have. So that the people can see something positive is happening and give Ruto time to finish his term until we go for elections. And also, more importantly, so that we have an election conducted in an atmosphere of promise. That unlike our past elections, this election is going to be peaceful and is going to be a true reflection of the will of the people of this country. You need that. That's more sustainable. What these other people are offering is temporal. It's like something for now. But what I'm talking about is something sustainable that you take into the future.
There are several ways stipulated in the Constitution through which the office of the president in this country can become vacant. Whether it is through this demand of people for the president to resign, but then why are you still saying that in any case that particular office becomes vacant under some sort of unclear circumstances, or the one that we are in right now, then that would lead to anarchy in the country?
The only way you can avoid anarchy is to remove a president through constitutional means. Constitutional means, which is an election in 2027, a vote of no confidence, etc., etc. They are all stipulated in the Constitution. Anything outside that will create anarchy. Anything outside that. There are those who agree, who believe anarchy, so be it. There are those who believe nothing can get worse than what we are going through. There are those who see that either way we are headed there. Even if we preserve the state as it is and preserve the government as it is, since government is not doing enough or anything, that anarchy is coming anyway. I think that's where the Gen Zs are. The Gen Zs see that you cannot expect anything from these people. And that's why they are willing to do anything. Because to expect these people to do anything is to delude yourself. So you see, either way, we are heading into anarchy.
Okay.
Because the only way is a conversation around how we can remain a constitutional order, how those in power can be held accountable, how those in power can listen to the citizens when the citizens rise up and make certain demands. Unless you have that conversation of how the led have their point listened to and taken into consideration, and how the leaders listen to the people and agree on what can be done now, tomorrow, later, and what can be done, and what is difficult, what is simple, what is easy, what is possible. That conversation is what can save this country.
Do you think Kenyans have actually maybe not known the right way to apply Chapter 1 of the Constitution here? Because look, they are saying all sovereign power belongs to the people.
Yes.
And I saw a number of them saying the people may. So they're like, look, these are the representatives whom we elected based on the constitution of this country. But then they failed us. And therefore, as a country, we are taking over now. The people have decided that this is the kind of direction that we are taking.
Is a possible, is a route in this constitution. But you must be prepared for the consequences.
Okay.
Lucky for us, there are many examples around us of people who chased away the president. And the consequences of that. You can chase away the president. You have the power because the Constitution provides for the people's ultimate power.
Yes.
And you can chase away your president. He can use an helicopter to run away from the country.
Okay.
It has happened in many other countries.
So
but the question is, after that, so what?
So is that what Raila was actually saying? That's
what Raila is saying, that you can
said,
create anarchy and you are not able to benefit from that anarchy.
Okay.
But there are those who believe, hii tayari ni mbaya, wacha ipasuke.
Okay.
Wacha kapasuke kanuke tutajenga baadaye. 50 years, 30 years. Again, you see, human beings have a problem. Faced with a situation, they always avoid the simpler solutions. Tens of millions of human beings have died in wars, only for the same idiots to come back and talk. There isn't a single war that never ended with the people talking. So the question you ask yourself, why didn't they talk in the first place? There has never been a war where people didn't end up talking. So human beings have this stupid tendency of being bellicose, belligerent, obstinate about certain things, of refusing to choose the simpler option to plunge countries into endless calamities. Yet there were always simpler solutions. So I will urge our country and our leaders, let's go for what is simple, which is doable. Let's sit down as Kenyans and talk. To think you can be so tough and then plunge the country into anarchy doesn't benefit anybody. Both sides. The simple thing is for people to talk and meet Ruto in the ballot in 2027, but Ruto on his part must also do certain things.
They're saying he's not doing any of it.
It's difficult. It doesn't seem to be.
He's not actually listening
when
to
people come out in their thousands, you call them, what are they calling them? They are calling them certain names. I don't know what.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't do that. You listen to them and say, look here, we have an election in 2027. Anything in between here is chaos. But I have listened to you. This we can do. This is a little difficult. This one, mwachie mwenye mtapatia 2027 kama hamtanipatia. Afanye. Mimi hiyo hapana. Me, I don't want to lie to you people. But this one I'll do. This I'll try. This let's do together. This one is painful. But we have to bear with it. As we wait for that 2027. And I'm sure you elect me.
Some of them are saying they cannot actually wait till 2027 anyway.
Yes, that's what they are saying. But Raila is telling them after that.
Okay. Let's wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to the Kanti Talk here. You can weigh in and tell us what you actually think. Do we have this conversation again? Have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans.